100 hours, 100 stars, a non-stop tribute to COVID warriors. As you have seen from the thumbnail, we have the very famous, the infamous, the family man, of course. He's the family guy. Ladies and gentlemen, he has his own Netflix special. He is one of the first three Indian comics to have his Netflix special. And it's amazing how this man landed up in comedy. The ever funny, the super successful Amit Tandon. Welcome to 100 Hours, 100 Stars. Thank you so much for being part of this initiative.
Thank you, Sriram. Always a pleasure. Great to be part of it. Yeah.
Now, for everyone who's part of this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to point out that there is a QR scanner that you can see. Feel free to just scan that QR code and feel free to have your generosity felt to the PM Cares Fund. After all, this is a non-stop marathon that's going 100 hours, 100 stars, plenty of big names just like Amit Tandon, who will be joining us as part of this 100-hour marathon jo chal raha hai. But Amit, let's come to you. What's happening? Kya ho raha hai? How have you been dealing with the lockdown?
Lockdown, it's been interesting. It's been my first break in 10 years where I've not traveled for such a long time. So in a way, it's a welcome break also. But the problem is, being live entertainers, there are no sources of income. So we are figuring out what to do next, how to evolve ourselves, because for the next 1 year, we don't see live entertainment at least opening up, even when, essential services will open or people start going out. That's not going to happen. So we're trying to figure that out. On health front, it's getting a little better, losing some weight now because now, when I used to travel, I used to cheat. When it comes to cheating, I'm talking about food, which I can't do now because my wife is always around. So that's net what's happening here.
Right. Congratulations on everything so far. I watched your Netflix special and it's amazing. I mean, you always bring on the laughter. I'm such a big fan, and so many people across the world keep sharing your content. But of course, right now, is it a good time for a comedian to write new material? You recently were on tour, you were traveling, and even now, your calendar was filled with dates back to back when you were traveling from one place to another performing.
I think today I was supposed to perform in Los Angeles as part of Netflix is a Joke comedy festival where everybody from a Dave Chappelle to Chris Rock were going to perform. So
wow,
that's what was lined up for today. It's the special went out. Very happy with how it came out. I was actually surprised with the reactions of people because it was not just my regular fans or followers who were watching it, but a much larger space came in. And for the first time, I think I was trying to say something more than just do comedy. And I was happy the message reached out to people and people got it. So pretty happy about it.
Right. Well, Family Tendencies, it's out on Netflix. Make sure to check him out. He's got umpteen number of material on the internet. And if you have never been to a live London performance, then you are definitely missing out. Amit, मुझे याद है, the first time I came across your material was the family and a buffet table. I think that was one of the first time I was exposed to Amit Tandon's comedy, and it was so relatable about how people go crazy on a buffet table. And I remember sharing it with all my family members. Observational comedy at its best. Let's talk a little bit about how you got into the world of of stand-up comedy per se.
So for me, this was never a profession. I was, I'm an engineer, MBA. I was running my own HR consulting firm. I was 32, 33, had kids, and I had joined, I got a business consultant to help me in restructuring my business. We were doing pretty well. Okay, so we were at a stage, we were growing a little faster than we could handle. And I got a business coach there, and he's so we were doing sessions, and then he recommended me a book called The 4 Hour Work Week. It's a book by Timothy Ferriss. Okay, it's about how to run your business working 4 hours a week. Essentially, how to run your business more efficiently. And the first chapter in that book talked about setting goals in your life. That if you only spend 4 hours working, on your business, what will you do with the rest of your time? And when I started writing those goals, so the first goal I wrote was I'll try stand-up comedy. The reason was during college time I used to be in dramatics and did pretty well in dramatics. I was a writer largely, okay, and I used to host the annual event. So I thought that this is something that I can try because I can write funny, I can get on stage, but I can't be part of theater because that needs too many people. So I'll try stand up. That was the germ. And I wrote. So when I wrote, I was doing first time I think in my life I took a book seriously enough to go back and implement what I wrote. So I started googling about stand-up comedy and came to know that open mics happened. 2010 open mics had just started in India, and I came across an open mic. Went to the open mic, bombed badly, but it's like a drug. You want to go back on stage and again try and make people laugh. And since then, it's just been going on, and here we are now. The business is closed. I moved to Bombay and full-time comedian.
Wow, wow. What an incredible journny. What an incredible journey. And we'll talk a little bit about family because you are such a family person, and observational comedy comes best at home as well. And we see the kind of support that you're getting from your family. पर उससे भी पहले आपने mention किया open mics के बारे में. The open mic scenario is of course thriving in every city. Right now, it's so difficult for somebody to crack it and to become a big name. What was it like when you, in 2010, went to an open mic scenario?
It was tougher as compared to today, honestly, I think, because at that time, nobody understood what stand-up comedy is. So you had to go to pubs and bars. Every comedian was an organizer also. So if you're a comedian, you just don't focus on writing, but also focus on going to bars, meeting people and pitching them stand-up comedy so that some of them agree, some of them disagree. So we used to have, like today, like I'm in Bombay, and every day there are, like when the lockdown was not there were at least 7 or 8 open mics happening every day. When we started comedy, there was one open mic in a month. Okay, and that too you had to register like a week and a half in prior, otherwise you don't even get a spot. So that's where a lot of us started. So I don't think it's tougher. In fact, today there are so many venues that if you are good, you have this so much more stage time that you can do. You can do stage time. You can do 30 shows a month, 30 open mics a month. We could do 1 or 2 in a month. Even if we went everywhere, we would do like 2 a month, and we'll have to, every comedian was pitching and trying to build new rooms, convince people. I see Bombay rooms, honestly, they're very, very, comedy friendly rooms because there's seating and there's a curtain and there's a guy with a mic. There's no food, no service. When we started comedy, the restaurants would not close down food. There's drinks will go on. People are talking, and in the middle of that, you're trying to make people laugh. And I'm telling you that.
Wow.
But that's what I think shaped up a lot of us, thicker skins.
Right. I mean, the foundation is so very strong. Also, Amit, I've seen some of your digital open mics that you have done recently. I remember so many organizations in Mumbai tried pulling in some of the amateur comedians and say ki, chalo digital open mics Instagram mein karte hain. And I remember seeing a material of yours as well. How did that feel? Because this is new to everyone, a digital open mic.
Yeah, so I think we're back to 2011, 2010. to our open mic stage once again, because with digital we have no clue how the medium works. So what we've been trying to do is, okay, we are doing open mics right now. My focus is to do everything around technology. Let me make all the mistakes and learn. That's the only way we will grow. I can't just sit at home, take tutorials, and then get my perfect way of doing a stand-up show and then get into it. So we are doing everything. In fact, yesterday we had a call with 40 stand-up comedians where we discussed the best practices in Zoom. Okay, what can we do? What we should not do? What are the ticketing platforms we should use? So now again, from we grew from being a fraternity into an industry, and now we've come back again together as a fraternity, where we're sitting down together again and saying that, okay, so this is a battle that we need to win again. We had one battle earlier where we had to teach people what comedy was, get on stage, do comedy, earn our stages. We did all of that, but now we are back to square one. Let's learn technology. Let's figure out the best way of doing a stand-up show online. But let's do it together. That's the only way we learn. So,
Right.
doing that.
For everyone who is joining us, ladies and gentlemen, Amit Tandon, of course, this is 100 Hours, 100 Stars. I'm Sriram Sullia. I host the Superhero Show on Fever 104 FM in Bangalore City. Just want to point out that the QR code scanner is right there. Feel free to scan it and you can contribute, you can donate generously to the PM Cares Fund. This is a non-stop tribute to the COVID warriors. Amit, let's talk about family. Getting too much of family time, more than you'd like. Maybe you're always on the road.
So what's happened is I have two teenage kids now. My son is turning 16. My daughter is 14. And, that's what I was joking about earlier, that, they would not really talk to you. Like teenagers hardly talk to you. And we used to complain about that earlier. But now that we are together and they started talking to us, we realized that we don't really want to talk to them a lot. We earn
Teenagers.
that whole, perception of let's be friends with our kids. That's all bullshit. You can't be friends with them because when they start opening up, you're like, okay, that's all that I want to know. I don't want to know more. But we try to spend time separately, like, not try to force each other to be together. If somebody's spending time in their rooms, nobody else is objecting. If somebody's spending more time on the phone, we know what else would you do right now. So, but we are working out. So, my kids work out every day. That kind of helps. I work out. I help them in their workout. So that's something that binds us together. But everybody's looking out, looking forward to getting out of homes. And
See, you have so many fans around the world, so many people when you go out who will want to take pictures aapke saath. But what's it like at home? Do the kids think Papa is cool? Papa is a stand-up comedian. What's the perception like ghar mein?
Ghar mein, it's a mixed thing. Sometimes they would complain, when the special came out, they said, half the jokes are about us, Papa, what the heck. And then I told them, so no, you are the only two kids in your entire school who have ever appeared on Netflix. Okay. So shut up. If you had to take a few jokes for that, I think it's fair. So but more than me, what they are happy about is that because of me, they end up meeting comedians whom they really like. So, Zakir would come home, so they're like, "Arey, Zakir," so they'll take pictures, and their friend would be jealous of them. So the more value of me lies in me knowing comedians that they like.
So ये advantage हुआ पापा का.
ये कुछ बंदे के साथ फोटो खींचने को मिला, जाकिर के साथ फोटो खींचने को मिला, जाकिर के साथ हैंग आउट करे हैं, पबजी खेला हमने जाकिर के साथ. So that's their bigger draw.
See, I'm a radio presenter. I've been doing this for the last 10-12 years. Of course, you've done radio, you've done Doordarshan TV, you've dabbled with television, radio as well. And I know when I go to a public gathering, कोई ना कोई आके माइक पकड़ा देता है, and they say that, how about I'm sure you've had plenty of occasions like this.
So now earlier it was a little tougher to, push back, but now I'm very clear. I tell them, यार जब तक तुम लोग टिकट नहीं लेते तब तक मेरे मुंह से जोक नहीं निकलता. So, so now I'm very rude to people who tell me to tell them a joke. I'm very, upfront that I can't do it. That I need people to be settled. I want this, that. I want you all to buy tickets, and then I'll get on stage and I'll tell a joke.
Lovely. But let's talk a little bit about all these years. There must be some crazy stories about some really bad gigs jo hue hain.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember any horror stories that you can share with us?
There are a lot of horror stories, actually. Horror stories would be like a 5-hour show by itself. But if I have to talk about something, I did a show in Dimapur. You know where Dimapur is?
Dimapur? No.
It's in Nagaland. It's in Nagaland. Oh. And apparently, you won't know that Nagaland is a dry state.
Achha, okay.
And I went, God knows who booked me, and this is like 6 years ago. They wanted a stand-up comedian, and God knows why my name came up. And I did Nagaland and Guwahati, and I went to this place called Dimapur, and they had put me up in a shitty hotel. In the evening, I go to go for the show, and it's a proper like 100-seater club kind of a thing. The drinks is being served, and they told me that it's a dry state, but we get drinks because they have tie-ups with mafia. Okay, and the local mafia kind of helps them. And I did my show. It went well. Finished the show, and then they said the mafia guys are here, and they came to know there's a comedy show happening, so they want to watch. And they're sitting on the side. They're not sitting with the crowd. Like there are 100 people sitting there in the crowd, and there are 4 people on the side. Okay, on the stage only, on the side. And 2 guns I can see there.
Wow.
And I can see 2 guns there. And now I'm supposed to perform. And I'm like, I have run out of jokes. What do I do? I've already performed one. I'm like, repeat the material. Now I'm doing the same material that I've done for those 100 people just a few minutes ago. I'm doing the same material with zero energy because now I'm also shit scared. Okay. And intentionally also I wanted to perform badly so that they are happy when I leave that this is a shitty comedian. I just let him go. So I just did 10 minutes and I saw that those guys were not listening anymore and I got off the stage. So that's one experience that I remember right now.
Wow. What an amazing setting. फिर से joke repeat करो just for these 4 guys who are sitting on the stage with you.
With a gun.
Priceless. And I'm sure it's a never forgettable moment for you. Before we wrap this up, I just want to talk to you a little bit about how you are known as the go-to person for clean comedy, which is a rarity in our country. There's just something about comedy and the rules, and in our country, especially if a comedy says a foul word, a bad language is used, audience has deti hai. It is an easy way of getting laughs. However, you've always strayed away from it. When you were developing the art, did you ever try, or were you always known as, I don't have to use bad language to deliver a joke?
On stage earlier, first 2 years, I did that. And I had sets which were edgy, where it's talking about sex, this and that. But what happened was when I got into comedy, I already had kids, and I lived in a joint family. I was living with my parents. So when I was on stage and if I saw a kid in the audience or I saw people above the age of 60, I got very uncomfortable using swear words or, even, doing a set which talked about sex or anything of that sort. So slowly I felt that, why should I get conscious every time? Let me just write stuff which is clean so that I am never stressed where I'm performing. That was the thought behind it. it took more effort to write those sets at that time. Not anymore. Like now, I don't even think that way. So I have no clue how to write like that as well. But in the beginning, it was more effort to write clean material. But then I was doing it for my convenience. But I slowly realized it became a great marketing, point as well. Okay, because I was the only comedian who was doing clean material. So a lot of corporate shows were like they wanted clean jokes. And this is the guy who can do clean jokes. I was like, okay, let me just stay in this zone. Work for me, works for my audience. So why not?
Yeah, and it is not just for corporate, like you said, whenever kids are around. Parents want to have a good time. They want to bring their kids along as well.
Yeah.
And you are the go-to person for delivering laughs, for making it happen all the time. Amit, what do you have coming up in the future? Of course, you did have the Netflix show that was supposed to be aired. So is that going to be postponed? Kya ho raha hai? Where can we see you up next?
So I'm ready with my next solo, but it will take some time because once everything opens up, you can shoot and all that. So I'm ready with my next solo. It has to be shot and recorded. I am working on a series around partition. So digital series, which is a very different point of view on partition. It's a light-hearted take on partition. So far, everybody's talked about the tragedies, but there were things which were weird, which were not haha funny, but would bring smile to your face. And nobody's talked about them. So I'm trying to, I'm working on that. That's a series I'm working on. I'm working on an audio show. I'm working on a podcast right now. So there are 3-4 things that are in the works right now. As the next few months pass by, you'll probably see them coming out.
Nice. You think down the line we'll keep bringing up the lockdown and COVID-19 and coronavirus की जब हम थे तब lockdown था. This is going to be said again and again and again.
I think our kids would do that more than us. Our kids would do it more than us. At least for my generation, that's what's going to happen because we've told them the stories of curfew and this and that because when we were growing up, we saw some of that. But they had never seen all this. So probably they'll do that for the next few years, I think.
Amit Tandon, what a legend. Thank you so much for spending time with us and being part of 100 hours, 100 stars, a non-stop tribute to COVID warriors. PTM scanner code hai. Feel free to scan it and send your contribution to PM Cares Fund.
Please do it as much as possible, guys. This is the time these people really, really need money. There's a lot that needs to be done. The doctors need those kits. There's not enough kits anywhere. So please donate as much as you can. Sorry, just adding.
Yes, thanks for making my life easy. Look forward to catching up with you soon, Amit. Take care.
Thank you, Sriram. Thank you. Take care. Be safe. Bye.